I was younger, I never really believed in monsters. My parents always told me that real danger came from people, not from things lurking in the dark. But a few winters ago, I experienced something that still makes me question that. I had just gone through a rough breakup and needed space, so I decided to spend a week alone at my uncle's hunting cabin in the mountains. It was the middle of December, and the snow was heavy, but I thought the isolation would help clear my head. The cabin was old but sturdy, sitting at the edge of a dense forest. The nearest neighbor was nearly a mile away. The first 2 nights were quiet. I spent my days chopping wood, walking the trails, and trying to distract myself with books. My only companion was my uncle's old hound, Jasper. He usually slept by the fire and barely moved unless he heard a rabbit outside. But on the 3rd night, he started acting strange. It was just past midnight when Jasper's ears shot up. He growled low in his throat and walked to the door, staring at it as if someone was standing right outside. I thought maybe it was a deer, so I ignored it. But then I heard it too. Slow, deliberate footsteps crunching in the snow around the cabin. I froze. Who the hell would be out here in the middle of a snowstorm? The footsteps circled the cabin once, then stopped. I didn't dare look out the window. I just sat there in the dim glow of the fire, listening. After a while, silence returned, and eventually, I convinced myself it was just my imagination. I went to bed upstairs, though sleep didn't come easy. Around 3 a.m., I woke to Jasper barking frantically. I sat up and immediately noticed something wrong. There was a faint, scratching sound coming from the roof. Not the scurrying of a squirrel, but long, dragging movements, as if something heavy was crawling up there. The sound slowly moved from one side of the roof to the other. My heart was racing. I grabbed the flashlight and forced myself to peek out the upstairs window. That's when I saw it. Perched on the peak of the roof was a figure, tall, unnaturally thin, with arms far too long for its body. Its skin looked pale against the snow, and its head tilted in a way that reminded me of a broken doll. Even from a distance, I could see its mouth hanging open, as if it was smiling, but there were no teeth, just darkness inside. I stumbled back, nearly dropping the flashlight. Jasper growled, but wouldn't move any closer to the window. The scratching started again, this time moving toward the balcony, outside my room. Then came the sound of tapping, light, rhythmic, like fingers knocking against the glass door. I didn't look. I couldn't. I just pulled the curtains shut, locked the door, and sat in the corner of the room with Jasper until the sound finally stopped. When morning came, I gathered my things, loaded Jasper into the truck, and drove away without looking back. To this day, I don't know what I saw on that roof. But I do know one thing: my parents were wrong. Sometimes, it's not just people you need to fear. When I was about 9 years old, something happened that I'll never forget. It was a summer night, and I had fallen asleep on the living room couch after watching TV. My parents had gone out for the evening, leaving me in the care of my older sister. But she was in her room with the door closed, talking on the phone. The house was quiet, except for the hum of the ceiling fan and the occasional creak of wood as it cooled from the day's heat. Sometime after midnight, I woke up to the sound of footsteps on the porch. At first, I thought my parents were home, so I just stayed where I was, half asleep. But the door never opened. Instead, I heard a slow dragging sound along the siding of the house, like someone was running their hand across the walls as they moved around outside. I froze. Our porch light was burned out, so everything beyond the window was pitch black. I pulled the blanket over my head, hoping it was just my imagination. But then, the noise came again, this time at the back door. A soft rattle, like someone quietly testing the handle. I sat up and whispered my sister's name, but she didn't answer. The rattle stopped. For a moment, there was silence. Then, the sound of the side gate opening. It was old and heavy, and the squeal of its hinges made my stomach drop. Whoever it was, they were in the backyard now. I crept to the window and peeked out through the blinds. At first, I saw nothing but the dark outline of the fence and trees. Then, movement. A tall shadow shifted across the yard, too big to be my dad. It paused directly under my window and just stood there, motionless. I backed away, heart pounding, and ran to my sister's room. I told her someone was outside. She rolled her eyes at me and said I was imagining things. But then, 3 loud knocks echoed through the back door. Slow, deliberate. Her face drained of color. She grabbed me and locked us both in her room. We sat in silence, listening. The knocks came again, this time at the front door, then the side door. It was as if someone was circling the house, trying every way in. After what felt like forever, we heard a car pulling into the driveway. My parents were home. By the time they unlocked the door and came inside, whoever had been outside was gone. My dad searched the yard with a flashlight, but found nothing except the gate left wide open. For years, my sister tried to convince me it was just some prankster, or maybe a neighbor messing around. But I remember that shadow standing under my window, tall and silent, like it was waiting for me to come closer. And I still wonder, if my parents hadn't come home when they did, would that knocking have ever stopped?